Fine. My butt reeks.
Springfield's neon yellow heartbeat, a chalkboard that changes mood, a couch that somehow time travels, and a dad who turned annoyed grunt into a global catchphrase. For more than 3 decades, The Simpsons has felt less like a TV show and more like a living organism, a town that refuses to stop breathing jokes into the culture. But here's the weird part. Beneath the slapstick and sight gags is a precision machine. Color choices were engineered to grab channel surfers. Runtime gags quietly rescue editors when an episode runs long. And the writers? Half of them seem like they smuggled in math degrees with their joke packets. That mix of silly and surgical is why the show keeps echoing into the real world. Guest stars sneaking in under fake names, a baby's first word delivered by an Oscar legend, and predictions that sometimes land so hard you'd swear there's a time machine hidden behind Moe's bar. Today, we're counting down 15 of the strangest, most delightful, and most head-tilting facts about The Simpsons, from invisible production hacks to divine anatomical exceptions. Whether you've watched every Treehouse of Horror or just hum the theme on autopilot, there's at least one "wait, what?" in here with your name on it. Quick favor before we jump in. If you love deep dive nostalgia with a nerdy twist, hit like, smash subscribe, and ring that bell. It genuinely helps this channel keep digging up the good stuff, and it tells the algorithm to stop strangling us like Homer with Bart. Alright, pencil to chalkboard, couch cushions fluffed. Let's roll. 15. The characters are yellow for a reason. Flip past any TV, and that color punches you in the eyeballs. The Simpsons custom yellow was chosen so the family would pop against any background and make channel surfers pause. That jolt of color became part of the show's identity, anchoring the brand visually the way dough anchors the soundscape. It also gave animators a flexible palette. The yellow reads clean against daytime pastels, nighttime blues, and the nuclear glow greens that haunt Springfield's power plant. Over time, the choice did more than attract attention. It carved out instant recognizability. A silhouette alone, round overbite, spiky hair, tells you exactly who you're looking at. That's not an accident. It's design psychology. And once the color locked in, merchandise followed. Lunchboxes, arcade cabinets, even old CRT TV hues made the family feel like they belonged on every shelf and screen. It's funny people talk about The Simpsons yellow, as if it's a Pantone emotion. That's the point. A weird little pigment decision became a permanent cultural highlight. 14 four fingers, except for God, and sometimes Jesus. Most characters in Springfield have 4 fingers, a traditional animation simplification that keeps drawing fast and clean. But the show deliberately breaks that rule when the divine drops by. God, and occasionally Jesus, shows up with the full 5. It's a blink and you'll miss it joke with a built-in visual punchline. Higher power, higher digit count. Beyond the gag, it works as a subtle cue, separating the ordinary chaos of Springfield from the cosmic. Animators can sell the joke in a single frame without dialogue or setup. And because 4-fingered hands are so normalized in cartoons, the 5-finger reveal has an uncanny kick. It's the sort of meticulous choice that rewards rewatchers. You don't need a long explanation. Your brain just registers different and laughs. The series excels at these small, rule-bending details. Change nothing, then change one thing. And suddenly, you've invented a theological sight gag that fans still cite decades later. Not bad for one extra finger. 13. Dough. Started as annoyed grunt in the scripts. Before it became an international reflex, Homer's signature sound wasn't written as a word at all. Early scripts simply said annoyed grunt, trusting Dan Castellaneta to turn punctuation into poetry. He did, borrowing a quick, sharp yelp inspired by old slapstick timing, then compressing it into a 1-syllable detonation. That brevity is everything. Dough lands between thought and speech, the perfect audio speed bump for Homer's bad decisions. The writers embraced it, not by overspelling the joke, but by keeping the stage direction and letting performance lead. Over time, it mutated into a family of micro-variations: long do for dread, clipped dough for stings, plural doughs when the bowling ball has already left the hand. The beauty is that it's both endlessly repeatable and never quite the same. Every time Homer faceplants into fate, the grunt maps the moment. It's a masterclass in how sound design can become character. 12. The theme was composed fast and keeps time traveling. The opening theme is so iconic, it practically draws itself. What's wild is how quickly the musical DNA locked in, and how often it's been stretched to fit the show's editing needs. Those flying sax lines and circus through a nuclear plant vibes are malleable. They can be trimmed, extended, or remixed to match any couch gag runtime. That flexibility turned the intro into a production Swiss Army knife. Need 10 more seconds because a scene won't breathe. Swap in a longer couch gag and let the music carry it. Need to sprint? Tighten the run through the supermarket and park the family on the couch in a blink. Over the years, the theme has also worn a dozen costumes: 8-bit, orchestral, Halloween haunted, without losing its spine. It announces the show's mood before the first line is spoken. A little anarchic, a little nostalgic, and absolutely ready to blow a raspberry at suburban life. 11 couch and chalkboard gags are secret editing tools. We love these bits because they're little presents, new every week, sometimes surreal, sometimes topical, but they also serve a ruthless purpose: time control. Episodes don't always land perfectly at their target runtime, so producers rely on variable length chalkboard and couch sequences to fine-tune the final cut. If an act break runs heavy, you'll get a micro chalkboard and a warp speed couch collapse. If a scene comes in short, suddenly the family is migrating through the Sistine Chapel before they can sit. It's an elegant fix because the gags feel like candy, not filler. And because fans expect them, the edit never reads as a bandage. Over decades, the team built a toolkit of animation snippets, short, medium, long, that let editors pay back or borrow seconds invisibly. The result? Episodes that breathe exactly as long as they need, with the most charming metronome in TV. 10. The writers hide real math and physics jokes. This isn't just a reputation, it's a treasure hunt. With writers who love number theory and physics, The Simpsons smuggles legit math into the margins. Fermat's last theorem near misses, nods to the Higgs boson, complex numbers popping up like Easter eggs. You don't need a PhD to enjoy it. The jokes work on face value, but if you pause and parse, there's a second laugh waiting. A blackboard in a science lab might contain a sly impossibility that only collapses under scrutiny. A riddle on a t-shirt might encode a problem famous to grad students. The signal is simple. Springfield is silly, but its writers take ideas seriously. And in a show that lampoons everything from politics to pop music, math gets loving parody instead of a cheap punchline. It's part of the show's secret. Smart people writing dumb things brilliantly. 9 Springfield is everywhere and nowhere. Ask 10 fans where Springfield is, and you'll get 12 answers. That's by design. The town is stitched from contradictions, so it can be anywhere America and exactly nowhere. Mountains appear and disappear. The ocean is a quick drive, unless it isn't. The next state over is all of them. Yet the names ring specific bells. Many were lifted from streets and landmarks in Portland, Oregon, a nod to Matt Groening's roots, Flanders, Lovejoy, Quimby, and beyond. That blend of vague geography and oddly precise nouns makes Springfield feel both mythic and familiar. It can host any satire, Midwest values one week, West Coast weirdness the next, without breaking continuity. Because the continuity is the joke. Every time the show teases a definitive location, it finds a way to wriggle out of it. The result is a map that redraws itself to fit whatever story the week demands. 8. Krusty was almost Homer in disguise. Early on, the team toyed with a deliciously strange idea: Homer moonlighting as Krusty the Clown. That twist would have explained why Bart idolizes a clown who looks suspiciously like his dad, and why Krusty reads as a weary, blue-collar performer under the makeup. Remnants of the concept linger in the character design. Same stubble shadow, same basic face structure. Ultimately, it was dropped because the reveal would have swallowed too many stories. The joke was bigger than the episode space around it, but the DNA remained. Krusty is a funhouse reflection of Homer. Fame without fulfillment, work without dignity, addiction without a guardrail. When Bart gets disappointed by Krusty, it lands like being disappointed by a parent. When Krusty occasionally shows heart, it feels like hope for Homer. Even as separate people, they share a melancholy that keeps the laughs honest. 7. Michael Jackson used a pseudonym and a sound-alike. One of the most talked about guest turns arrived under a fake name in the credits, John J. Smith. The story behind it is stranger than the alias. Michael Jackson voiced a soft-spoken patient who befriends Homer, but contractual and union rules complicated things. For the musical bits, a sound-alike singer matched the style so closely that fans swore they were hearing MJ, because they were, and they weren't. That split performance turned into urban legend catnip, with reruns sparking new debates every few years. The choice also shows how The Simpsons treats celebrity cameos, not as varnish on the show, but as malleable puzzle pieces that must fit the satire. Even megastars bend to Springfield's rules. The joke comes first, the name in the credits comes second, even if it's a fake one. 6. Sideshow Bob, Shakespeare, and the Rake Symphony. Sideshow Bob works because he's dangerous and ridiculous at the same time. Casting Kelsey Grammer, whose voice oozes cultivated contempt, gave the character a theatrical spine. Then, the animators did something perverse. They staged an avant-garde gag where Bob steps on rake after rake after rake, stretching a simple joke into absurd repetition, until it becomes funny, then unfunny, then transcendentally funny again. That sequence is a mission statement for the show's willingness to push form. You can hear the iambic villainy in Bob's line readings one moment, then watch him be humbled by yard tools the next. Prestige meets pratfall. Woodhouse collides with Looney Tunes. It's no accident that Bob episodes often feel like mini-plays. The show learned it could borrow structure and tone from high culture, then slam it into a brick wall of slapstick and come out stronger. 5. John Swartzwelder, the mythic recluse of the writer's room among Simpsons diehards. John Swartzwelder has the aura of a campfire legend. He's the most prolific writer in the show's history, associated with episodes that swing for the surreal. Homer's Chili Pepper Vision quests, cowboy poet detours, nonsense that feels oddly profound, stories of his work habits, writing at a diner booth, avoiding office politics, punching scripts until they bled jokes, only deepen the myth. What makes his episodes distinctive is the rhythm. A serious premise will abruptly tilt into dream logic, but the emotional throughline never snaps. Characters behave like themselves, even as the world goes sideways. That's hard to do. It's also why fans can often spot a Swartzwelder-ish turn. The gag escalates too far, then somehow lands squarely on heart. In a show built by many hands, his fingerprints became a genre. 4. Maggie's first word was voiced by Elizabeth Taylor. For a character who says almost nothing, Maggie knows how to pick her moments. Her first word, Daddy, arrives like a pin through the noise, and it was delivered by none other than Elizabeth Taylor. One word, barely breathed, and yet it shifts the emotional weight of the episode. The casting itself is a flex. The show doesn't just collect celebrities, it deploys them with surgical precision. Taylor's voice adds a time capsule touch of Hollywood royalty to a scene about a tiny family miracle. It's also a reminder that The Simpsons can stop being cynical whenever it wants. In a town where everything bends toward the punchline, the writers occasionally choose sincerity, and it hits harder because of the contrast. The joke, this time, is that there is no joke, just a perfect daddy. 3. Homer's email address leaked, and fans wrote back. The show loves to blur the line between Springfield and the real world. One episode flashes Homer's email address quickly enough to feel like a throwaway gag, but slow enough for fans to freeze frame and try it. Naturally, inboxes were flooded. That stunt turns the TV screen into a two-way window. The audience talks back, and the writers grin. The Simpsons has done versions of this with phone numbers, URLs, even QR-ish visual jokes you can chase down if you're obsessed enough. It's a meta trick that rewards attention without punishing casual viewers. You miss nothing if you don't play along, but you get an extra layer if you do. In a way, it anticipates the second screen era before it fully arrived. Springfield is a story you can live in if you want to. 2. Blinky, the three-eyed fish, escaped the screen. Blinky began as a perfect little parody. Pollution, politics, and PR wrapped into one bug-eyed punchline. Then, reality did what it loves to do with The Simpsons. Imitate it. Over the years, real-world news stories popped up about oddly mutated fish or multi-eyed catches near power plants and industrial runoff. Some were hoaxes. Some were genuine abnormalities. But the meme stuck. The Simpsons did it first. That phrase has become a shorthand for the show's predictive reputation. Really, what's happening is that a satire machine that constantly sprays jokes at every corner of life will, by sheer volume and keen observation, occasionally nail the future's vibe. Blinky is the fish-shaped mascot for that phenomenon. Flopping between fiction and headline until you're not sure which one is parodying the other. 1. The predictions, phenomenon, skill, scale, and a little luck. From smartwatches to autocorrect fails, from theme park debuts to oddball Nobel nods, The Simpsons' so-called predictions are a cocktail of sharp observation, comedic extrapolation, and statistical inevitability. A show that's aired hundreds upon hundreds of episodes across decades will naturally toss out ideas that later rhyme with reality. Add writers who watch culture like hawks and push trends to their extremes for laughs, and you've got a lot of near misses that, in hindsight, look eerily precise. Are there genuine bullseyes? Absolutely. Are many prophecies cherry-picked, misremembered, or slightly remixed in online posts? Also yes. The real magic isn't time travel. It's a writer's room that models how people behave, how tech creeps in, and how institutions bumble forward. Predict the pattern, not the moment, and you'll look clairvoyant more often than chance should allow. Conclusion. What makes The Simpsons endure isn't just the gags, it's the machinery behind them. A custom yellow becomes a brand. A five-finger exception becomes instant theology. A theme song doubles as an editor's lever. The town changes shape to fit whatever satire needs space that week. And the writers, freakishly literate, mathematically mischievous, emotionally sly, thread sincerity through absurdity until you're surprised to find yourself moved by a baby's whisper or a clown's regret. That's the secret. The show doesn't just parody life, it studies it. It bends toward truths that feel universal, then wraps them in a joke so good you barely notice you've been nailed. If you had fun diving into these weirder corners of Springfield, tap like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Your support keeps this channel exploring the dusty backrooms of the shows we love. And now, it's your turn. Drop your favorite deep-cut Simpsons oddity in the comments. Maybe it's a background sign gag you've never unseen, a couch sequence that deserves a museum wall, or a prediction that actually came true. We'll pin the best one, and who knows, maybe build a part 2 around it. Dough right, see you next time.